Welcome back to Built to Ship, the podcast where we go behind the scenes with founders and product leaders shipping real AI products into the world. Today, I'm joined by Garvit, CEO and founder of 9AI, a company that builds uh, intelligent AI employees and is an enterprise AI growth partner that helps enterprise and AI adoption through consultancy, workforce, and the AI employees that they build. Garvit, great to have you.
Thanks, Tyler. It's completely great opportunity to showcase 9 here.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I want to start with kind of your background and what got you the idea for 9AI and what were you doing before 9AI?
Right. So just to give you a background about, I'm running 9 from past 3 years. I have with me my two co-founders, Aditya and Kaustubh, and we are the idea behind 9 comes from the very basics. Like while the advent of generative AI, something we figured out in our local market in enterprises itself was something that enterprises are kind of interested into AI adoption, but they are nowhere like close to how to implement it, and most of the SaaS products are just building a point solution, not having customized tailored plan for their enterprises. So we saw a major gap there, so we came up with the idea of like doing an AI consultancy with them. So we have an in-house R&D team called 9AI Research Labs, in which we have end-to-end R&D team that works on like agentic frameworks. We also have proprietary agentic framework that works on like low hallucination part of it, and we are kind of in working in multiple domains. So like we have collaborated till now in enterprise like healthcare, manufacturing, B2B, like BFSI segment, and we have seen a kind of large amount of success for enterprises we have worked with, and they have gone a real world ROI from AI. So that's kind of a keystone for us to like scale it more further. So we now currently are into the business and providing enterprises with custom consultancy and AI workforce, and we are also into like building AI hybrid employees that could be integrated into your current workflow, optimizing your like in-person employees productivity by kind of 10x or 2x.
Amazing. Love that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that like you saw this gap in the market and you saw this friction for enterprise to how to actually deploy AI. Where did you see that? Like how did you find that? Was it from
Yeah.
previous, jobs or previous companies?
So like I'm having a lesser experience in corporates. I just did an internship for 4 days, so I don't have experience of corporate. So I just go straight
Amazing.
to
So you just had the idea, you're like, let's do this, and you just
right,
got going.
right. So before starting 9AI, I started 9AI in my kind of third year of college. In first and second year of my graduation in IIT Madras, I did kind of participate in around 15 to 60 hackathons and won
Wow.
15 of them. So like that was the my builder phase where I identified the kind of the journey of like building things, and where eventually then I started freelancing and I saw a gap in the market, so I did one or two freelancing projects, then I directly shifted on to 9AI.
Amazing. Love that. It's very great founder mindset to just, build and go to these hackathons and then have an idea and just hit the ground running. Where what were you studying in college? Like was it related to AI or did you kind of
Yes,
just get interested in okay.
it's BS, BS in artificial intelligence.
Okay, great. So you were already studying this, you saw the trend happening and you were like, I have to be part of this. Is that kind of how it
Right,
worked?
right,
Yeah,
right.
awesome. Well, great. Yeah, I wanted to ask a couple questions about 9AI itself. Tell us a little bit more. What's an AI employee in simple terms for someone who maybe like doesn't know exactly what that means? Are they like in Slack with you messaging? Are they like what does an AI employee look like?
So AI employee is kind of a omnipresent virtual employee. You could visualize it something like a work from home colleague working with you, like he interacts with you over Slack, emails, WhatsApp, or conversation. So our AI employee also can communicate through using same channels, and it also have context like our virtual employees. So if you conversate with them over one channel, it also have context over other channels. And most kind of fascinating part about this AI employees is they are not here to replace humans. So we are not creating employees that are kind of replacing humans. Rather, we are creating employees that will empower them. So we have a SDR called Olivia. She is kind of currently integrated into 3 or 4 enterprises in a current pilot, and they have increased their outbound efficiency with their current capacity team almost by 10x. So that's a huge number for them. And
Wow.
like the incoming leads, their pipeline has been completely changed. So that's what kind of radical shift of kind of how enterprises look. So we are based out of a kind of a small town here in India. So like it's a AI adoption seems to be kind of having a large friction here. But what we have saw with our solution is like most of the enterprises here in the market space have adopted to the AI agent and capabilities we are building. So that's something fascinating. Like even coming from this kind of geographical areas where enterprises might see some friction in adopting such kind of technology, there's kind of great adoption. So once we scale to globe, I think the limits are endless.
Amazing. And you mentioned that Olivia, one of these, first agents you built, that's an SDR. What other types of AI employees do you guys offer to your enterprise
Right.
clients?
So currently we have a SDR, and just to have add some more context. So currently most of the SDR that are available in the market are kind of out of the box or kind of a SaaS based product. But our SDR is something different. We tailor stitch our SDR based on the kind of enterprise requirement. What are the brand propositions are? What are their brand values? What are their writing style? How they approach the client? What are their kind of sentiments that are triggered in their sales and GTM cycle? All of that is stitched into the workflow and the kind of a orchestration data pipeline based on which we create the personalized outreach mail. And also their ICP is curated based on their requirement. So it's not a kind of open-ended shot of AI, like it's targeting random people with random context and out. So if someone replies, it works out. So it's more kind of a domain specific knowledge incorporated into AI that brings out the wonder. So that's one kind of a employee. And also we are currently working on Skylar. So Skylar is one of our SEO agent. She works on intels that are in the market, and based on that it create contents organically. So she can post blogs, LinkedIn post, Twitter threads, and kind of bring the visibility to the brand. So that's one of the agent we are working on. And also currently we are working on Ledger. So Ledger is an accountant. So it's kind of so it can work on your balance sheets, your invoices, manage all of them, compile them, and create your monthly balance sheet. What are your payrolls? It can completely automate that manual and tedious tasks. So most startup founders are kind of juggling with them. And I think initially most startup founders are not having that much idea about accounts and things. So that's
Definitely.
where they could get a consultancy at a very low cost.
Amazing. I'm curious to dig into Ledger a bit more. How do they actually interact with balance sheets and such? Like, are they actually doing transformations in like Google Sheets, or is it all text based, or what's kind of your idea
So,
there as you're building
so
Ledger?
right. So basically, all the AI agents that or the employees that I would say we are building have a kind of a open fabric that we have created. So we are building connectors for them with multiple CRM, ERP. So currently, more like Ledger is incorporated into one of our Indian clients. So they are using Zoho invoices and Zoho books for kind of compilation. So we have integrated their complete connector with uh, Ledger, and Ledger is kind of directly integrating with them through API. So all of that data is maintained over here.
Awesome. And so, how does that work? And maybe get into the technical stuff just a little bit. When you
Hmm.
integrate with these accounting tools or invoicing tools that they use, is it a pretty like step by step workflow that the employee runs, or is it a little bit more like tool calling or function calling, where it kind of has to
So
decide what to do?
right. So it's completely based on the use case. So like how we do is like for our current consultancy flow consists of three steps. So first is kind of their process auditing part, where we first analyze the enterprise end-to-end process, how it's humanly done currently, what are the steps. And after that, in second, we define SOPs. For each process, we define a documented SOP. What are the steps that a human or an AI would take, like a layman algorithm for each process, how to achieve that, and what are the steps involved in. After that, we break each component in that SOP into what can be achieved with AI without hallucination, and what are the component that could be achieved with other algorithms other rather than AI. We are not solely dependent on AI or LLM. We are only using it where it's only required.
Mm-hmm.
Rest of the algorithm there could be complex. So that's one thing we have learned over the years. So you don't have to put AI everywhere and like put ChatGPT in
Totally.
every context.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's one thing. So based on that, we define a customized curated flow that could be integrated for enterprise, bringing them results with lesser hallucination, less token consumption, and accurate results that are kind of accountable for them. So that's kind of our
Amazing.
approach.
Yeah, that was you pretty much answered a question I was going to ask, which is this all AI or is there a hybrid approach? And to your point, there's a lot of use cases that AI can solve, and there's a lot of things that don't make as much sense for AI. So it makes perfect sense that you guys are spending the time figuring out what's the best hybrid approach. I wanted to ask, who are your core users? So I'm understanding that your enterprise, your customers are kind of enterprise, but who within these
Mhm.
enterprises are working with you? Is it, customer success or sales ops or engineers?
Something that we have observed, like in the course of interaction with enterprises, this kind of AI interaction in enterprises is kind of challenging for like executive level or like employee level interaction to have adoption in. There's a kind of friction there. Mostly these kind of interaction happen at like CXO, a chief growth officer or CEO, who kind of see the vision and envision the growth that could it potentially bring in. So the initial collaboration start with them. Once they see the kind of traction that it could bring in, once they have the potential vision in their mind, they connect us with the kind of engineering team. So that's the kind of a roadmap we connect to enterprise.
Makes sense. Yeah, we see a pretty similar trend because, executives are interested about AI, but because it's such a new, transformative, and strategic initiative, they want to be involved early on before they kind of hand off other teams. So, yeah, similar to what we're seeing. Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit more about like under the hood, the tech stack. How are you powering these AI employees? Is it one model provider? Do you do fine tuning? It sounds like it's a mix of like traditional sort of software and ETL processes along with AI. Tell us a bit more about the under the hood infrastructure.
So like under the hood infrastructure, mostly like in terms of the framework, we are using the LangGraph, the latest released one LangGraph. We have created a proprietary kind of a top layer infra on that. So creating our agentic architecture for that. We mostly use multi-agent architecture in situations when there is kind of more kind of tool calling there. And apart from that, we have kind of proprietary engines for multiple segments. So like one of the use cases we build on is for insurance claim processing. For that, you need to detect damages on the vehicle from the image itself. So for that, we are having a deep learning model trained on a custom data set. Also, the data set that is created at our end. So we annotated the data set and created the custom model, and the model's kind of benchmark values achieved around 93% accuracy in real world data sets. So it's in production and resolving real world claims. So that's one of the use cases we have there. And also,
Amazing.
apart from the AI, apart from that, we recently also integrated our solution into one of the enterprises in uh, what we say, it's kind of furniture company. So receive images from their clients. So in terms of pinsert images, their clients have kind of utopian idea, I want this kind of room. So they have a SKUs of around 1 lakh products. So their design team have to search across that image into that SKU unit, and that's a tedious and monotonous product, so our process. And also their design team kind of also found a hack around it. So they took 15 product out of their inventory, and they always recommend same to the client. So that's kind of enterprise havoc that has created. So went there, did them the complete end-to-end consultancy, created a clip-based embedding model that embeds images into their inventory with visual descriptions and also the image similarity search. And based on the input image that we gave, our agent identify what are the SKUs in there, and it's extract their boundary level entities, and there's a clip level model that identifies the similar searching products. So that's all the product problem with higher efficiency. And also in the solution, we approach three things. First is our AI implementation. Second is our custom logic that we build using the clip model. Third is our UX. We pay a special attention to the user experience we build. So we saw that most enterprises would love to use a product that's easy to use and like kind of very easy to adopt. So that's also, so these are three key pillars that we use in our products.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like you're doing a lot more than just using LLMs, right? You're
Right,
talking about other
right,
types of models.
right.
Where are you using mostly open source models or at least algorithms that then you're training? Are you using like repositories like Hugging Face, or are you using like SageMaker on Amazon? What does that kind of look like when you're training these
So
models?
when we are training the custom model, we are using kind of most of the open source models and models on Hugging Faces, and we are fine tuning and retraining on our custom data set. And in terms of LLM, we mostly use based on the use case, it's kind of OpenAI's model or Claude or use Grok, something similar to that. And also for enterprises which are having zero trust requirements, so they don't want data to go out, we are using open source model hosted into their own infra. So we have a variety of choices for that.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, a theme that I'm hearing here is that you're making really custom, flexible solutions that fit these.
Right.
That's why you spend all the time figuring out like what their needs are, so you can build a
Mhm.
end-to-end solution that really solves their problems. That's great. How long does that process generally take? Like you mentioned these three pillars and these three steps. You let's say you engage a new enterprise customer. How long is the sort of planning phase and then the building phase and then getting into production? What are you seeing in the market of how long that takes?
So typically the auditing and business analysis part takes around 1 to 1.5 months. That's kind of a standard timeline. And in terms of going to production, if it's a custom solution that needs to be deployed into their infra, it takes around 5 to 6 months. It's if it's completely custom. But if it's one of our AI employees, it could be implemented in within 1 or 2 weeks.
Amazing. What's the biggest like roadblock that you find? Like, is it just executives wanting to try out the tool themselves or being nervous about releasing it? Is it a technical challenge? Like, what's the most challenging part of like this process in general?
Right, right. So the most challenging part we have seen currently is like the friction we saw from the employee that we were previously talking about. So we created one of the solution. It's kind of working like magic for enterprise. It's really good, but the team at the end, the core users are not adopting it because they see the AI as a threat, but they're not identifying that it can resolve their major problem. It's something similar to using a chat GPT. So that's something we are facing currently. So we are working on that, like how to create adoption across enterprises for employees too. So we are creating workshops and also kind of creating a SOP around that, how to solve this problem at scale for major of the enterprises.
That you're highlighting across the industry because it's such changing so quickly and people have concerns, whether it's maybe their jobs being replaced or even just like they're not sure if it's going to work properly or they have 10 other priorities. So, a challenge that we see sometimes is, to your point, improve adoption and enable these people, but you're also not directly in the company, right? You're not the CEO of that company. So you kind of need,
Right, right.
how do you have to leverage like the support of their executive teams to help, to use the product? Or do you guys just figure out how to like, you just message their teams directly, send them a
So
workshop? How do you do that?
I think the second approach is kind of hypothetical and it doesn't work. So we have to approach the executives.
Okay. So you kind of get them on board and they kind of help you figure out like, help schedule these like workshops and kind of push their teams like, hey, go use this tool. Is that kind of how you increase
Right, right.
adoption of the
So
of the
we are
tools
we are
you build?
not we are not right. We are not pushing them directly. Rather, we are kind of creating initiatives so they could see the value in the product and identify that the using by using the product, it would save a lot of time for them itself. So we are creating kind of initiatives to implement and narrate through executives. So that's the idea is.
Great. And is that like, are you creating like one pagers that they can send across to their team, or like video demos? Or are you writing like what materials do you equip the executives with to inform the
So
team on how it's valuable?
So yeah, so we did a pilot A/B testing with that. So we also handed over one pager, and in the one pager we created a web page and also added a tracker that how many opens are received there. So we in the enterprise of around 300 people, we received around 10 views. So that's what
Wow.
scale at which the one pager works. So once we send a video that's intuitive and fast to be viewed on directly over their social media or YouTube, it has a higher traction. So most of the people view it, and they saw it's kind of a 3 minute video, say, so they easily saw it. So video has a more retention across than a one pager.
That's really interesting. That's helpful for us to think about too, because yeah, like struggling with this problem of AI adoption. So thanks for sharing that.
Right, right.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this has been a great conversation. Tell me a bit about what's next for Nine AI. Where are you guys heading in the next 12 months?
So currently, we are kind of, as I already said, we are currently operating in the Indian market, and we are currently scaling into US market with some of the partners we have already collaborated with, and we are kind of targeting to like most of the enterprises in US and kind of sharing our case studies that the success we have received here in India. and how can we things move forward with the things. And also apart from the enterprise adoption, we see 9AI is more kind of a growth partner for enterprises and also a research lab. So that's the second phase that we are hiding behind the enterprise integration. So in the research lab, over the long term, like in next 5 years, we aim to create more meaningful infrastructure, more powerful than LLMs. So that's kind of a big statement, but we are targeting that. So we are trying to create more kind of, so currently LLM approaches the thinking capability from kind of contextual data. So it learns from the data it already have. So we are thinking of creating models which are more reasonable and learns like how a human does. That would create more empowering models which could learn and create more value rather than having compiled a large chunk of data. So that's kind of different infra that we are planning on.
Amazing. That's really exciting. Great. Well, yeah, again, thanks for the conversation. I'm going to put your website on the page, 9ai.in. Is that correct? Your website? And
Right,
where else can
right,
people follow you and follow along with the company?
right. Or over the LinkedIn or Twitter, you could follow it anywhere.
Great. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, everyone check out 9AI, and thanks again for the conversation. It was great chatting, and looking forward to keeping in touch and seeing as you guys build out that 5-year plan for this next phase of LLM infrastructure. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Welcome. Also, like before we wrap up, I just